In early 2022, my mom unexpectedly passed away. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. Every time when Mother's Day is around the corner, it's been tough and I tend to reflect a lot more. And I was thinking, should I talk about what happened and what I went through? And I don't think I'm ready to talk about the exact details of what happened, but I thought it might be a good idea to share what helped me get through the grief. I know I'm not the only one that has lost someone, so I hope that this helps anyone who's currently going through the pain or still going through the pain. These are the things that helped me feel better. The first thing I wanted to point out was exercise. Exercise helped me quite a bit. At the time, my husband and we signed up for classes at a gym. We took yoga classes, Pilates, and kickboxing. First of all, I'm so lucky that I had my husband who is very supportive and motivated me to get out of the house and to move my body, because when you're in grief, you really, at least for me, I really didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. I just felt like my mind was fuzzy. I felt slow. I felt like my energy was just drained out of me and it was just hard to do things. So when I actually went to the classes and we had someone prompting us to do the movements, it provided me along with the endorphins that it gives to just make your mind feel good, it provided me a distraction from what had happened and what I was experiencing. But to be honest, it didn't provide 100% distraction. I found myself, like for example, in yoga, when it's dark and you're sweating in the heat, I found myself reflecting on my mom and crying. I would cry in the class, and it was a perfect place for me to do that because everyone was just so focused on the movements. It was dark, we're all sweaty, so like the tears kind of just got masked. And with kickboxing, it actually was great because when I was feeling anger that my mom was taken away too soon, it was a good release of my anger, not onto someone else, but onto the punching bag. I think exercise is a really good thing when you're going through grief because it provides you, again, with the endorphins, it provides a distraction, but it also provides you a way to just move and get out and feel accomplished too, that you got through that class. Even though you're hurting so much, you're able to do something. You're given like an avenue just to let go some of that anger and the sadness. I think exercise too, it tires you out, so it helped me get better sleep instead of staying up all night thinking about all those thoughts that were running through my head at the time. It helped me to connect with myself and with my husband. Other things that helped was self-care. Again, exercise was a form of self-care for me. The other forms of self-care that I particularly enjoyed was I love getting massages to help with the physical aches that I have from work. But also when you're feeling sad and grieving, your body makes all of these neurotransmitters and chemicals in your body that makes your body tired. It makes you ache. So getting the massages helped me a lot. Basically doing things that you enjoy, continue to do those. I also loved getting facials because it just soothed me and gave me time to relax. And the next thing, my friends and family suggested that I talk to a therapist. And so I said, oh, why not give it a try? I don't have to leave my house. I could just go on video chat, talk to a stranger, and not feel judged. For me, I only went with the first therapist and I only did a few sessions, maybe like 4 or 5 sessions. The reason why I think I didn't continue doing therapy is that I'll go to the therapy session, I would pour my heart out. Then as time went on, the therapist will eventually say, okay, we only have this much time left. And at the end, screen pops up so that I can pay the $150 for that session. And then we would schedule the next appointment. So I think for me, it was hard to just pour my heart out to someone and then all of a sudden it gets halted and, we have to pay and then continue on another time. So it kind of just broke the spell for me. So it was hard for me to do therapy. Maybe I wasn't completely connected with this person. And so maybe I should have tried finding another therapist. But I reflected on it and I think just that the transactional part made it hard for me to really soak in what therapy can provide for other people. But I did get good exercises and a mindset from those few sessions, and I would like to share that with you. So one of the exercises was, so imagine that most painful image that you have in your mind that tends to pop in your mind. Mind you, my mom and I lived 13.5-hour flight from each other, so I did not see her at home when she passed away. I only got the description from my cousin that helped me get to her. So I had that picture in my mind, and the therapist told me a lot of times trauma and pain, that moment is so vivid, it's so colorful, so detailed. And an exercise that get that image in your mind, take away the color, take away the details. And so it makes that moment feel, makes it feel less recent, less real. And another exercise was to again get that image. And usually when something also is painful, it's so in your face, it's so close up. So she said, just imagine it getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till it's very hard to see. Those were exercises that helped me. Other exercises is kind of reframing your mind. When you're in pain and anything you do, you have this negative mindset, which rightfully so. You've been through a lot. You experience something that I wish no one ever have to experience. It's no fun losing a loved one. When you go out, people tend to be angry that your loved one's not here. You feel so sad that they can't experience things, which is okay. But instead of doing that, be like, thank you, Mom, for showing me this cuisine. I'm still enjoying it. Or saying, Mom, I miss you so much, and I know you would have enjoyed walking through this park. I found that very helpful, reframing those painful moments into grateful moments, for moments of joy, moments that just remind you of your loved one's personality, the presence that they gave you, how they made you feel. It's good to have those thoughts in your mind, but it's also helpful to say it out loud, to say thank you out loud, and I miss you and I love you out loud. I also found it helpful to write my thoughts on a journal. It's okay to write the negative thoughts that you have, but I think what I've been trying to do is talk about more of the happy moments and the happy thoughts, because I find when you write too much negative thoughts down, then I start to focus more on that. Writing and reading, you're more focused on what's on that paper instead of everything else. So it was helpful to write positive things. I even got one of those journals where it was like what I'm grateful for today, and that made me appreciate everything that I have, all the things that I was so lucky to have experienced. I was so lucky to have a mom that loved me so much, and to have her for the time that I had. I was just so lucky to be loved by her. My mom, basically both her parents passed away by the time she was 12, and I was so lucky that I got to have her in my late 20s. Talking to friends and family helped quite a bit. It was just nice to be able to share my experiences with people that I love, that I know who love me and, want to take the time to listen and help me heal. It was hard though, because not everyone, of course, no one's going to have the same experiences for you. A lot of my friends haven't lost a parent, so it was hard for them to relate or for me to really connect with them in that moment. But with that, even when I talk to other people who had lost a parent, you'll never meet someone who has exactly the same experience as you. Never. You'll never have the same pain, the same process. Like even my brother, even though we have the same mom, like he experienced it differently than me. It was still hard to talk, but it was nice to just have someone's presence there, to know that I still have a lot of love in my life. Each person that I talked to, they had great, tips and advice and suggestions of what helped them. One of the things I was suggested was celebrating my mom, getting flowers and making an arrangement and making something for her to remember her. And I still do that now. I still make flower arrangements for her birthday, for Valentine's, and her death anniversary and Mother's Day. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I know my mom loves flowers. So it was a way, again, for me to connect with her in a more positive light. I would like to say too that there was a point where I did feel it's hard to grieve with even your closest loved one, because grief, it's hard on other people around you too, even though they didn't lose the person that you lost, but they love you so much, they hate seeing you in pain. They don't know what to say. They feel, sometimes they'll feel helpless, and that no matter what they do, they can't help you. And it does take a toll on them. And so I think that's where therapy is very helpful as well. Is it takes away the feeling of being a burden on your family and friends. Being able to talk to someone that, it's their job and their expertise to listen and talk to you and give you pretty sound advice. So again, therapy didn't completely work out for me, and maybe I didn't work hard at it, or maybe it just wasn't for me, but I can see how that is very beneficial for other people. And I feel like talking to family and friends, it's very important to connect with people, because as humans, I do think we are very social people. During grief, it's a very isolating time. We feel like we need to isolate ourselves, get away from people. But I think connecting with people does help extract you or take you out of that hole. And you could be introverted, but no matter how introverted you are, you need at least that one person to connect to and talk to. Happiness is also very contagious. So being around people who could help provide even a little bit of light in your life is truly a blessing. And another thing that helped me was traveling. So it was kind of like getting away from the past, starting fresh. So traveling was very helpful. I love experiencing new places, new food, new cultures. My husband and I made it a point that we thought traveling would really help, and it did. I think what really helped is that I know my mom will always be happy that I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my family, and just continuing to enjoy life. One of my mom's favorite thing to tell me and my brother was, don't worry, be happy. Along with health, it's just important to be happy. So I hope that this helped give you some ideas of how to kind of navigate through your grief. Just know that, you're not alone. This is a natural part of life, and each of us, we're gonna navigate through it differently. It's gonna look different to you than it did to me. You might take a longer time. You may get through it faster. Things will eventually get better. Another thing that I learned that has stuck with me is that grief never truly goes away. But what happens is that what we have to do is try to gather a lot of other happy moments, happy experiences, and to the point where it builds up, builds up, builds up, and makes that grief get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that grief, that pain, that yearning for your loved one, it'll never go away. You'll never forget them, but you will have more happiness that will make that grief feel like it's not there. You are going to have many moments throughout your whole life where you're going to remember the pain, the guilt, the regrets. But you know, that's what makes us human. I think grief is also, it's also proof that someone you love was in your life and that you were lucky enough to experience their love. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. And I know that you're gonna get through this.